Hi guys, MybadOmen again. Sorry about the noise in the background. There's some of my machines running. Today I just wanted to give you guys a glance and tell you a little about the Primochill compression tube reservoirs, or CTR reservoirs, because I see a lot of misconceptions out there, a lot of things people don't know on how innovative these things really are. Okay, so I want to keep this short and sweet. First of all, Primochill released the first ever compression tube reservoir, which is one thing which I'll get into later. You might be saying, well, what's that mean? Big deal, right? But it is a big deal. Now another thing that they did, this is the Primochill also released the first ever UV tube reservoirs. They're actually UV. The blue is extremely bright. The green is really bright. I can try with my black light, but it's really bright in here and it doesn't really show. The colors aren't even showing right. These are a lot brighter than they are in the camera. But let's talk about the features. This is the most important part. And a lot of things that I see people not getting right or not understanding. First ever compression tube reservoir. Let's talk about that. Here's one with an end taken off. So it's a tube. In this case, a UV tube. And it says Primochill etched in it. And it's really nice tube. Besides the caps coming on and off with compression, which if you look at this one, which is together for my rig, you can't pull them apart. It's impossible. And now these screws ain't tight. You don't have to crank these screws tight. All you want to do is bring the O-ring inside out just enough to squeeze against the plastic all around. If you crank them, there's a chance you can damage the reservoir. So you just snug them down and feel the caps. They're not going anywhere. But now the big thing about it. I run into this if you're a modder, or not even a modder, just a water cooler, and you've ever done a do loop setup or any nice setup, you run into having threaded reservoirs, one or two, and you want your top fittings and your bottom fittings to be in exact position, nice and clean, without using a million adapters to get where you want to go. I've run into that problem a lot, especially on my Mass Effect build. Well, in compression tube fittings, your 2 holes are here, or 4 holes, whatever cap you're using. You line up, if your fitting don't line up, say I need this hole, say there's a hole here and I need it over here. You just loosen the screws and turn the top and tighten it back down. That way the top and bottom fittings will be exactly where you need them. Nice and clean. That's a huge feature. That's a huge feature of it. Of the compression part. That a lot of people don't realize. A lot of people don't realize that these are the first ever UV reservoirs. I'll show you a little bit of what the compression how it actually works. There's 3 parts to the cap minus the screws, and the screws have little O-rings. But there's 3 parts. You have your top cap where you see the holes. There'll be 2 port on the top. Standard res comes with one that looks like this with 2 ports, and then the bottom will have 4 ports. That's a standard CTR. Now this piece would be the very top piece. Then there's a part that looks like this that goes underneath, and it's kind of wedged. And what it does is the O-ring sits on that wedge and in between. So when you actually tighten these screws, it squishes it and pulls the O-ring out against the inside of the reservoir, and that's where you get your seal from. Absolutely watertight and really strong seal. That's the reason you don't have to over tighten them, because all you want to do is extract that O-ring to get a nice squeeze on it. So don't be cranking down your CTRs, because if you go too far you can break them, obviously. There's been precautions made to stop you from doing that. There's shorter screws now, so you can't really tighten them that much, which you still can if you overdo it, but there's been precautions to prevent you from over tightening them. But anyway, let's get to the caps. Now here's the other good part about the compression tube. This, I told you the standard comes with a 4-port bottom, 2-port top, just like the standards here I showed you. Now there's also an advanced model which will come with this as the bottom, get out, this as the bottom, like this, and one like this with a port on each side. That's what they call the advanced CTR. So that would be the top and that would be the bottom, which is great for a completely different configuration. But another great thing is you can switch any top to any reservoir, any combination, because they come right off compression. Now there's another thing too. There's also a D5 model you guys might have seen on the website that mounts a D5 directly on this with 2 outputs. It's amazing. The thing has the same pressure coming out of each port. It's extremely powerful, and it's just an incredible setup for it. So you'll be able to mount your D5 nice and clean, like the D5 would mount on the bottom. Sorry, I don't have one here right now, but you can see it on the website. It just mounts clean on the bottom and bolts up, and that's your whole, that's your pump, reservoir, everything all ready to go clean. And there's other caps being worked on also. As you can see, there's some colors here. There's green. This is a pink. Can't really tell in the light. This is like a cloudy color. This is extremely UV blue. This is the most brightest UV color I've ever seen in my life light up. And then there's the nice bloodshed red. This is a custom one. As you can see, it's over 2 feet long. There's 2 of them from my juke bench build. But this is also a CTR reservoir. And again, this is where the turn in the tops is going to be, is one of the biggest features that makes this reservoir so incredible, is I can turn this top to get them fittings where I need them. A lot of people overlook that. They don't see the difference between threads. Well, that is a huge difference for me right there, is that you can turn it and put your ports any way you want them and not have to run some mess of fittings or run your lines crooked or whatever. You know what I'm talking about. Now, from a modder's perspective, because I'm a modder and I know a lot of you are modders, this is the actual reservoir that is going in Legion. I might be changing the caps around, but this is the tube that's going to be going in Legion. This is a standard 250 millimeter, roughly 10 inches or whatever long, but I need it about that much shorter, because no standard reservoir is going to fit. The 120 is too small and the 250 is too big. So what am I going to do? I'm going to cut this where I want it. I'm going to clean the edge up again, make sure it's nice and smooth, and I'm going to stick a cap back on it. So you can cut the reservoirs to custom lengths, or you can be creative, use some other kind of tube. There's tons of things. These are just amazing reservoirs. There's so much you can do to them. This is showing them with some, just a 70 and 90 fitting on it, just to give you an idea. I mean, what you can do, but obviously you can run anything you want. The green's really cool. It's kind of hard to see. It's extremely bright green. So isn't the pink, but the camera's hard to pick the pink up. It's a bright pink. The red I showed you, the UV blue, it's really light, but under UV it's extremely bright blue. One of my personal favorites, the cloudy. There's also clear. There's more colors that I haven't opened and I don't have here, but there's some. I'll try to give you a view of the UV light, but like I said, it's extremely bright. It's early in the day and my camera don't catch it that great, but as you can see, they light up immediately. See the top? It glows immediately. They're super, super bright. Like, I was so shocked. The blue especially is so amazing. I let my kids play with it. They were shocked at night. Also, another thing is the reservoirs match the tubing colors. So, say you have the blue reservoir, the new tubing matches the reservoir. It's got that same clear, it's hard to see, it's got the same clear blue, and it's the same color which is hard to tell in it, but it's transparent blue, and it's the same color as the new advanced tubing on all the colors. That was a big factor in all the cooling that they're trying to do. They're trying to keep I talked to them, they're trying to keep all the cooling stuff the same color, so all your components will match in color. So basically, with the Primochill setup, eventually when they're done, you'll be able to run a complete system if you want off just distilled, but have a full colored loop. That's pretty amazing. Your reservoirs will be colored, you know, everything. Your tubing will be colored, everything will be colored, and you'll be running clear water through it. They even have little indicators now that are colored, little flow indicators that are coming out that are really cool. They have some MybadOmen reservoirs that I really love. It's one of my favorites, and I'll show you one now. Here's an example of one of their MybadOmen reservoirs. Mine's dirty, but this is a 6-port. There's also a D5 version. This is the orange in the back and clear in the front, but as you can see, mine needs to be clean because I was testing with it. But I love these reservoirs. I think they're amazing. I think they're well built. They look great. Incredible reservoirs. Also, in the background, if I duck my head, you can see I use the CTRs. There's one running right there, 24/7. I never worry about it leaking, anything like that. They're rock solid. And there's another one on my other build. I can't really move the camera, but there's another 250 CTR running on another bench over here, 24 hours at high temps. And there's one going in here. So I don't want to talk too much longer. I think I made all the key points. Putting the caps on, use the directions, or you're going to go through hell. I can tell you that right now. When I first got these, there was no directions. I fought trying to put the cap together and squeeze it on. There's a very simple design. It's in the directions. You basically set stuff on the table in order, the way it says, you stick the tube over it, you tilt it sideways, and you use plastic screws first that come with it, 2 of them, to put in there to pull it in, and then you put the threads in. So make sure you read the directions for assembling. It makes it a lot easier for them. The brackets with the 250, the 80 and 120 only comes with 1, I believe, and everything else comes with 2 because they're not needed for the smaller ones. But it's a 2-piece bracket. Comes with a nice solid piece of aluminum painted black with threads, and then it just goes around the reservoir and tightens down on it, and you put the screw in, and so they're really clean looking. You can move them wherever you want. You know, they're not something that sticks out. I know there's more caps to be released. Like I said, sorry I don't have the D5. I showed you the monster crazy over 2-footer right here. It's got the Primochill logo on it. It's like I said, this is a custom one, but I like to show it. It's kind of amazing just what they can do. I hope this cleared up a lot about the compression tube reservoirs, and I hope I'm not forgetting anything. So you got the first ever compression union tops, which the benefits are you can turn them, you can cut your tubes, you can line up your fittings. First ever UV reservoirs. You can change multiple different caps. It's got D5 caps. I know there's other caps in the works. You could actually use your own tube if you had the right size. Just great. They're incredible reservoirs. I'm telling you right now, you get one, you won't be disappointed. I run them every day on all these rigs in here and in the rigs in the other room, and I'm very pleased with them. And I don't recommend taking the tops off and on if you're afraid you're going to over-tighten them. But if you think you're pretty good with tools, then yeah, I take mine off all the time, every other day for cleaning on some of the builds that I use, because I test a lot of water cooling products. So I clean the insides and put the caps back on, and I don't have any issues, never, with breaking a cap, breaking anything or anything like that. So I hope you liked this interview. I hope it explained a lot. This is just me talking about these reservoirs because I've seen so many things like, why, you know what I mean, why compression union? It's like a lot of people didn't get it. Why? Why this? Why that? Well, there's huge reasons for everything they did. And it's a very innovative and an incredible design once you realize what it can actually do. When I get something to build, I'll be able to explain a lot better, but they're just great. Hope you guys like it. Sorry, video's a little funky, but I did my best. Take care, guys. MybadOmen out.